welcome to School Counseling Snippets. I am Samantha Vidal, and I work for Keep Indiana Learning as a professional learning specialist. School counseling snippets are brief bits of information for school counselors who are busy but want to know what's going on. Let's get started. Today's snippet is all about legislative updates to start the 2023-24 school year. I have sorted through information and found what I consider to be the top 10 legislative updates that you need to know. I found a lot of my information today from this guiding document that was published by the Indiana Department of Education. This is a great resource, and if you have extra time, I recommend going through this as well. But if you don't have time, we'll get started and we'll go through the top 10. The first is House Bill 1449. This is all about 21st century scholars, and it now means that you do not have to recruit students to sign up for the program. The Commission for Higher Education and the IDOE will automatically identify eligible students and automatically enroll them for you. They will also notify the family and explain the conditions that are required to participate and allow students to opt out. It's not abundantly clear in the legislation, but it does appear that this will be, eligibility will be determined in 7th and or 8th grade. Up next is Senate Bill 167, and this is a FAFSA requirement for high school seniors. So all high school seniors must register and complete and submit their FAFSA no later than April 15th. A school's principal or counselor can waive this requirement, but they first must document that they reached out to a parent or guardian twice and were unable to contact them. House Enrolled Act 1635. This is all about reporting graduation rates. This was effective this summer, July 1st, and it changes the way that school districts and high schools report their graduation rates. So for the 2023-24 school year, no more than 9% of graduation waivers can be counted towards a school's graduation rate. And each year, this percentage will reduce. So the following school year will be 6%, and the next consecutive school year will be 3%. This does not affect how schools award these waivers to students. It just changes how they report them. House Bill 1447, this is the third-party vendor. This is mostly going to affect school counselors with a needs assessment. So if a school uses a third-party vendor for some sort of evaluation or survey, the school corporation must post a copy of this on the school's website and explain why this survey is being done. They must try to obtain written consent from parents and guardians, but if they do not respond and do not decline, the school can still administer the survey. House Bill 1002 is about career coaching. So this requires that public high schools will hold at least one career fair during the regular school hours each school year. It also mentions that certain school corporations will have to include career awareness instruction. All of this is set to take effect July 1st, 2024, and there is still more guidance that we're waiting to hear about regarding the standards for the career awareness instruction and various grant funds that will be available for career coaching, career scholarships, and the career fairs. So stay tuned. House Enrolled Act 1001 is Rethinking High School. So this is set for implementation during the 2024-25 school year, and more guidance is coming. But it basically is all about rethinking how we approach doing school so that we can maximize students' four-year high school experience and really help students to work toward credentials of value and meet those workforce demands. House Enrolled Act 1001-2023. This was all about textbook fees for families. This took place or is effective this summer, July 1st, and it requires schools to not charge families for any sort of curricular materials. So that could be books, hardware, software, digital content, Chromebooks, laptops, iPads, or any other curricular materials. This also impacts costs associated with AP courses, CTE, and dual credit classes. Schools are prohibited from renting curricular materials to students, but students may be charged for significant damage or lost materials. This does not apply to non-public schools, but students who meet requirements for assistance can request a refund. So I recommend, if you do have students at a non-public school, to look more into this from that guidance document from the DOE. Senate Enrolled Act 486 is McKinney-Vento and applies to other trainings. So the state law for McKinney-Vento was repealed, but the federal law is still in place. So school districts won't really feel a change in this area. They must still have a McKinney-Vento liaison and still continue. This also applies to training that student-facing employees have to complete. So employees are no longer required to complete in-service training on criminal gang awareness or recognizing the signs of seizures, but they are still required to complete training on human trafficking. The House Enrolled Act 1251, this is actually from 2022, but this is the new streamlined standards, and it was approved this summer on June 7th. The State Board of Education approved the K through 12 academic standards. They're called the Indiana's Future Focused Academic Standards, and they are aligned with the Indiana Graduates Prepared to Succeed, or the GPS dashboard. And the IDOE and the Education Service Centers of Indiana will provide resources and professional development for educators, and it's set to roll out around November of 2023. So this affects many standards, including English language arts, math, social studies, science, and more. Coming soon, you can read a blog post about all of these updates, and I will participate in a podcast episode with some helpful people from the DOE who can shed even more light on the implications of these legislative updates. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a school counseling snippet, and I'm Samantha Vidal.